Chapter 5. In one particular, at least, the friends of Hildeqard Monkrif were mistaken. The Battons' business prospered amazingly. In the 15 years between Benjamin Batton's marriage in 1880 and his father's retirement in 1895, the family fortune was doubled, and this was due largely to the younger member of the firm. Baltimore soon forgot all the stories about Benjamin, and the young Battons were popular in the town. Even old General Monkrif became reconciled to his son-in-law when Benjamin gave him the money to bring out his history of the Civil War in 20 volumes, which had been refused by 9 prominent publishers. In 15 years, there were many changes to Benjamin himself. It seemed to him that the blood flowed with new vigor through his veins. It pleased him to get up early. He enjoyed walking through the sunny streets each day to work. His father's business made more money than ever, thanks to Benjamin. Then, as time passed, he was more interested in having fun. Benjamin was the first man in the city of Baltimore to buy and run an automobile. His friends saw his energy, and they were surprised. "He seems to grow younger every year," they said. Rocer Batton, now 65, thought his son was a wonderful man. Benjamin was liked by everyone who met him. There was a problem, though. One thing in Benjamin's life was less than perfect: he no longer loved his wife. At that time Hildeqard was a woman of 35. With a son, Roscoe, 14 years old. In the early days of their marriage Benjamin has worshipped her. But, as the years passed, her beautiful gold-colored hair changed to an unexciting brown. Her blue eyes shone less. She had become too settled, too placid, too content. 15 years earlier, Hildeqard was always the one who dragged Benjamin to dances and dinners. Now conditions were reversed. She went with Benjamin, but she didn't really want to go. They went at Benjamin's suggestion, and because he wanted to. Hildeqard was happy to stay at home. Benjamin's discontent grew even more. When the Spanish-American War began in 1898, he decided to join the army. With his business influence he obtained a commission as captain. He was a very good officer and his men liked him. He was brave, too. But his business required attention, so in 1901 he returned home. A noisy band met him at the station. They walked with him to his house, playing their music all the way. Baltimore was happy to welcome Benjamin home again. Hildeqard, waving a large silk flag, greeted him on the porch. Benjamin kissed her. After 3 years, her hair now had some grey in it. She was a woman of 40, but she looked older. The sight depressed Benjamin. In his room, Benjamin looked in the mirror. He compared his face with a photograph taken before the war. There was no question about it. He was still getting younger. He now looked like a man of 30. "Good God," he said aloud. "I had hitherto waited for this day, when my body age has reached my real age. I wanted to be able to say, it's finished. Now I'm like other men. But I see that's not going to happen." He shuddered. His destiny seemed to him awful. Incredible. Hildeqard was waiting downstairs for him. She was angry. "She's guessed," he thought. "She knows what's happening to me." So at dinner he tried to talk to her about it. "Everybody says I look younger than ever," he started. Hildeqard regarded him with scorn. "Do you think it's anything to boast about? she replied. I'm not boasting, he replied. You should stop it, Hildegarde added. How can I? I'm not going to argue with you, retorted Hildegarde. But there's a right way of doing things and a wrong way. If you've decided to be different from other people, I can't stop you. But I don't think it's very considerate. But Hildegarde, I can't stop it, said Benjamin. Yes, you can. You're simply stubborn. You think you don't want to be like anyone else. You always have been that way, and you always will be. Benjamin made no reply. But from that time on a chasm began to widen between them. Soon, they were like two strangers living in the same house. Benjamin found that he wanted to go to more and more parties. This made things worse at home. He was invited to every party, every dinner, and every dance in town, and he went to all of them. He danced with the prettiest young married women, chatting with the most popular of the débutantes. Sometimes his wife went with him. She sat with other older women and watched him, sadly, without understanding. Look, people said. The poor young man, tied to a woman of 4 to 5. He must be 20 years younger than his wife. They had forgotten, as people inevitably forget, that back in 1880, their parents were saying almost the same thing, but the other way around. Benjamin's growing unhappiness at home was compensated for by his many new interests. He started to play tennis and made a great success of it. He took dancing lessons. In 1906 he learned the Boston and was excellent at this new dance. In 1908 he was considered proficient at the Maxine, while in 1909 his Castle Walk was the envy of every young man in town. His social activities, of course, interfered to some extent with his business. But then he had worked hard for 25 years and felt that he could soon hand it on to his son, Roscoe, who had recently graduated from Harvard. He was the right age to take Benjamin's place in the family business. Roscoe was very interested in the business, too. Benjamin could remember feeling the same at one time. He and his son were, in fact, often mistaken for each other. This pleased Benjamin. He soon forgot the insidious fear which had come over him on his return from the Spanish-American War, and grew to take a naive pleasure in his appearance. There was only one thing in his life that he didn't enjoy. He hated going out in Baltimore with Hildegarde. She was now almost 50. When they were together, Benjamin felt stupid. Hildegarde looked like his mother.